They save lives. They care for others. But who takes care of them? Behind the smiles and the dedication, many international healthcare workers silently battle anxiety and depression. The mental health struggles of healthcare professionals are often ignored. But it's time to break the silence.
The mental health struggles of international healthcare professionals are often ignored. It's time to break the silence.
Let's start the conversation. Let's make a difference.
Join us live on YouTube as we discuss risk solutions and offer support to those who need it most. See ya.
Date Tuesday, 25th February 2025. Time 8 p.m. UK time. Streaming live on YouTube at True Talk with Sam.
All right, thank you very much, and welcome to today's program. I'm really very happy, and I'm really glad that we are joining in today. True Talk with Sam, if it's your first time joining us today, it's actually a monthly event or a monthly program where we discuss topics that would help international healthcare staff settle in and adapt well here in the UK. And my name is Samuel Osonrense. I am the host and the convener of True Talk with Sam. And today's topic is quite an interesting one, looking at the silent struggle, anxiety and depression amongst international healthcare staff. And I know we've seen some series of work or some series of surveys that has been done on this topic. Like the ROCN, we have the Nursing Time. I've seen a lot of work that they've done concerning this topic, anxiety and depression amongst our international healthcare staff. And my guest today is no other person than Queen Okesola. Basically, she's a mental health practitioner. She's a practice educator, and she's a lead OSCE support trainer. So we have the best here today to talk about anxiety and depression amongst our international healthcare staff. Before we go further, I want you all on the call today, I'm giving you 1 minute to share the link to your friends, share the link on your status, informing people that we have started, we are here live to talk about the silent struggle. You'll be shocked how many persons are really struggling with this anxiety and depression. I actually did come across some research and I put it on my status, and you'll be amazed the amount of response I got. And I noticed that it was quite an interesting topic to talk about. And here we are discussing, we'll be discussing practical solutions to handling anxiety and depression. So please, you have 1 minute to share the link on your status, share the link on your WhatsApp groups, share the links to friends who might need it, and would really go deep into discussing this topic today. Queen, welcome to the show today. How you doing?
I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor. Thank you for inviting me. I'm doing great. And how are you too?
I'm very fine. And I know our viewers today, we are all eager to hear practical solutions to handling anxiety and depression today. So just before we move into the topic today, I would like to introduce my guest so that we'll actually know who and the caliber of person that we have here today handling this topic. Elizabeth Okesola, popularly known as Queen, is an award-winning mental health expert, a practice educator, and an EdTech innovator dedicated to empowering internationally educated personnel through cultural competence, resilience, and emotional intelligence education, mentorship, and systemic change. Queen, who is a recognized expert for over 2 decades in practice, has spent the last 15 years mentoring, training, and supporting over 3,000 healthcare talents from Africa. She is a pioneer of career transformation programs with a 90% OSCE first-time pass rate for internationally educated nurses. She delivers pastoral support programs, workplace and employment support interventions, and advocates for mental well-being of immigrant workers. At Jakpademi, she leads innovation and AI-driven solutions as career advisors and mental health consultant. It's quite an interesting portfolio you have, Queen. And
Thank
basically, she
you.
focuses on helping immigrant professionals, especially women and adolescents, adapt, thrive, and succeed. Queen's work is reshaping policies, training system, and workplace culture to ensure that internationally educated healthcare workers are recognized and valued and also supported. She is a sought-after public speaker, a marriage and relationship coach. She's a mentor, researcher, and thought leader in global mental health and migration discourse, speaking at international summits and driving diversity, inclusion, and competency recognition. Her message is really very clear, and it states, no international talent should struggle alone. Your skills are valuable. You can thrive. Are you an internationally educated professional navigating your journey? Then a mentor ready to guide others, a partner looking to drive meaningful change, wants to create inclusive workplace and empower immigrant professionals, looking for an inspiring speaker to discuss mental health, migration, and workforce transformation, then join Queen at Jakpademi today and become part of an unstoppable movement. And we will be sharing the link to join her after this session. We'll have quite an interesting portfolio, Queen, and she's actually the one that is here to do justice to this topic, the silent struggle, anxiety and depression amongst international healthcare staff today. Now, let's dive quickly into this topic and let's see. We just want to know, just give us a basic. What is anxiety and depression? Let's start with that.
Thank you very much once again. Thank you for bringing me in here. And well, just like you said, I've seen a lot in mental health setting. I've been practicing for well over 2 decades. In a simple way, anxiety can be described as a persistent state of fear or worry that interfere with daily functioning. What do I mean? Sometimes it presents with physical symptoms. You see this individual with rapid heartbeats. At times there is excessive sweating. Sometimes the individual is trembling. All of this are associated with anxiety. Whereas depression is something different. It's big on its own. Depression is a mood disorder. It's a major mental illness. And it's marked by prolonged feeling of sadness, hopelessness, and a loss of interest in activity once enjoyed. Now, you see an individual who loves to eat, he loves to dance, loves to swim, loves to enjoy life. And all of a sudden, this person recoiled back into his shell. Then something is wrong somewhere. One might be thinking about depression. One might be thinking about checking this person out. And I must tell you, it is a silent struggle among the healthcare professionals. It's a silent struggle because people don't want to talk about it. People prefer to keep quiet and not this pain alone. And that's why we're here, to tackle that. Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you very much. And I see depression, as you said, is a mood disorder. So some persons who might be bubbling, who is the jovial type, all of a sudden just begins to withdraw, and you find out that there's a problem somewhere. Now, can you help us?
I also want to say quickly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I also want to say quickly that both conditions, can significantly impair one's ability to function, even in personal and professional settings. So one cannot treat one in isolation or say one is transient. Both of them significantly impair one's, daily functioning. I just want to add that to it.
Okay, because I noticed that sometimes it might be, some persons might think it's work-related. So can you give us the difference between work-related stress and anxiety or depression?
Well, work-related stress, we can say is transient in nature. That is, it is temporarily, and it can be circumstantial, meaning that something must have caused it. And so when you eliminate that thing that caused it, then the
Yeah.
stress is gone. But when it comes to depression, the signs keep coming and they are repeated and they are persistent. They can begin in weeks, for months, for years. And not only that, both anxiety, normal stress, depression, they are responses to emotional issues, all of them, the three of them. But the difference is that the trigger for anxiety and normal stress is external, whereas the trigger for depression could be inbuilt, is internal. And so when we're talking about this, people under stress, they usually experience mental and physical symptoms such as irritability, anger, fatigue. But then when these are removed, then all the symptoms disappeared. So you can see that when depression is prolonged, it's permanent, kind of. It doesn't go easily. Anxiety and stress can go easily once you remove the causes.
I noticed. So the causes for anxiety could be external, while that of depression could be inbuilt. So when you eliminate that of the external factor, then you come back to normal. But that of depression, it's quite difficult, right?
It's really difficult. And that's why many. Can you still hear me?
Yes, it's breaking. I think we're having some network issues. Can you hear me?
Because I can see you.
Yes, I think your video is frozen. So can you hear me now?
But is it okay now? Yes.
Yeah, it's getting better.
I can
Yes,
hear.
yes, it's better now. All right. All
Okay.
right. I wanted to find out, mostly as international healthcare staff, what would you say are some signs? What signs could we see that will show that probably this could be anxiety or this could be depression? You know, we just talked about differentiating it between normal work stress. So normally, the workplace is stressful. We go to work, we do extra shift, and it's quite different from having anxiety and depression. But what signs can we see, and we'll then know that, oh, I think I'm tilting towards anxiety or I'm tilting towards depression?
Thank you very much. Actually, we need to simplify it. We need to clarify early signs and chronic signs of both
Okay.
anxiety and depression. So, and then we can now go to some peculiarity to internationally educated
Exactly.
staff.
Yeah.
So, there are early signs of anxiety and depression. Let's talk about early signs of anxiety first. There is shakiness, there is increased heart rate, tightness, breathing, thought. Advanced sign of general. When you talk about the advanced signs of generalized anxiety disorder, you'll be talking about excessive worry occurring more than days, and more than 6 months. Not only that, there is feeling of restlessness, there is fatigue or frequently feeling tired, there is difficulty concentrating, there is irritability, you don't have kind of muscle tension, everything is tightening up. sleep disturbance, like difficult, falling asleep, or even staying asleep for a very long time. Distress or impaired in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. All of these are advanced signs. But if you talk about depression, for instance, we have early warning signs. When you see an individual isolating oneself from the rest of the people, maybe in the home, in his or her family, you see someone is bubbling, suddenly becomes thinking negative thoughts. You see some people, they are really, really pessimistic. They are beside the train track, and all they could think of is, yes, I'm going to jump off now, and this train as it's coming is going to crush on me, and I will die. When you see people frequently thinking negative thoughts, then watch them. Let them get checked. Then recurring feelings of sadness. This individual will just suddenly feel sad with no apparent reason at all. No reason, the person is just sad. These are early warning signs of depression. However, the advanced signs of depression include feeling down or depressed most of the day, nearly every day. The person is depressed. Not only that, diminished interest in activity you once enjoyed. Like I said the other time, you can swim, you can jump up, all of a sudden, all of that is gone. Depression, the advanced signs. There were also difficult with sleep. The person sleeps too much. He cannot sleep at all. All these are signs of major depression. Fatigue or frequently feeling tired. Oh, I'm just tired. Oh, I don't even know what is wrong with me. I'm just tired. Wash it. Difficult concentrating, whether it's student, staff, this individual cannot just, concentrate. Not only that, recurring thought of death. Like I said, each time this person is sitting down, standing, walking, he's constantly thinking about death. I'm going to die today. What am I living for? Some statement like, it doesn't worth it. What am I living for? I'm going to die anytime from now. You guys will see me no more. They will use it as a joke. But take note of those statements. They mean a lot. They are going to do it if care is not taken. So distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of function. Let's assume this person is the minister. Maybe minister sharing the good news, going from house to house, talking about the scriptures. Or this person is a philanthropist. It's a giver, and all of a sudden, all those activities are gone. And it becomes persistent. It is noticeable. People can see it and say, oh, this lady is once bubbling, lively, but all of a sudden, always sad. Then that's an advanced warning. That person needs to be checked.
Quite interesting. There are some early warning signs and there are some advanced signs that you have pointed out that I want us to clarify. Yeah. We talked about, I think, advanced signs of anxiety as sleep disturbance. So not being able to sleep. So I wanted to clarify that there are some persons that they find it difficult not sleeping. Because I don't want it to seem like probably because they're not able to sleep, probably they find it difficult not sleeping. Was it always related to anxiety?
Good point there. Now, let me come in, on that. Naturally, the way we're created, we're supposed to sleep 6 to 8 hours at night and 1 to 2 hours or 3 hours during the day. So if anything falls short of that, it's already a problem. Do you get that? Yeah. So anything that falls short of that is already a problem. Whether it is work-related, whether because you are running some businesses or you are running some program, you couldn't sleep in the afternoon and you find it difficult to sleep for 6 to 8 hours at night, that's already a problem. Now let's talk about anxiety. People who cannot sleep, who find it difficult to fall asleep or staying asleep. Some people sleep early, but they cannot sustain that for a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas some cannot even fall asleep at all. So because naturally it is not normal not to fall asleep. You were supposed to sleep at night between 6 to 8 hours. And you were supposed to sleep during the day, if you have the time, between 1 to 2 hours. But then at night, you couldn't fall asleep. That's an, it's an arrow pointing to something. It could be pointing to a medical condition, or conditions, or it could be pointing to mental health issues like anxiety or gradually moving to depression. So we want to have a balanced view of it. For the fact that somebody cannot sleep during the day and sometimes couldn't sleep at night does not mean that the person is suffering either from anxiety or depression.
Okay.
But it could mean that something is not right somewhere. Because ordinarily, you were supposed to sleep as a human being.
And going further to, I think you talked about early warning signs of depression. Sleeping too much. I sleep very well, oh, Queen. So I don't want you to now
Sleeping
say
too much.
Sleeping
too much or sleeping not too much is under advanced signs. It's not even under early signs.
The early warning signs. Okay,
depression.
That's an advanced sign.
Under
Okay.
advanced. Yeah, it's an advanced one. It's under advanced. So not naturally, sometimes when we are preoccupied with some things, it takes away sleep from our eyes. That is normal. It happens sometimes. But when it becomes persistent,
persistent. Yeah, I like that.
Pointer.
Yeah. Okay.
The pointer to something. So we should clarify it.
Yes.
I'm a night crawler. I am a night crawler myself. Most of my educational activities, my researches are done in the night because that's the best time for me. So which may take away sleep from me. I may be sleep deprived, in a particular week. And I may recover it, regain it the next week, not doing anything and just be sleeping. So we want to just strike a balance and understand it without, confusing ourselves.
Yeah.
Thank
you very much. I really like the clarity you've given to this particular signs. It's there are some persons that are really having difficulty sleeping or sleeping too much. So we actually strike the balance here. And you wanted to share the peculiarity as regards international healthcare staff when it comes to anxiety and depression.
Yeah. So the peculiarity I would like to share for international staff, I could call it red flags. Yeah, I could call it red flags. And the red flags is feeling of isolation or frustration arising from cultural or language challenges, or arising from meeting financial obligations at home country. You know what I mean, Sammy? When we are here and people at home is asking us money, when you're unable to meet this demand, then it becomes a problem. So that peculiarity distinguishes us, internationally educated professionals, from every other person because we have this anxiety in us. So feeling of isolation, feeling of I do not belong here, because different can bring about anxiety, can bring about stress, and if care is not taken, can lead to depression. Unreasonable expectations, setting that for ourselves. And we come here, we meet a different, total, different thing. It can bring about stress, anxiety, and lead to depression eventually if care is not taken.
That's very, 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 very correct. It's relatable. Feeling of isolation, basically because of the cultural or language barrier. And, our people back home, they don't want to hear. They just begin to call you, send you messages and all this stuff. That really causes anxiety. And
I know, right?
Yeah.
I know, right?
That's true. All right. I wanted to see, and as international healthcare staff, knowing that we are unique, I would use that word, we are unique. And a lot of us are on sponsorship. Having anxiety, having depression will definitely impact our work performance. So I wanted to see
Yeah.
how can this really affect? Is it something that could be manageable? Is it something that we should ignore, or is it something that we should take seriously as regards our work performance relating to anxiety and
All
depression?
right. Thank you very much, really. I work with migrant nurses, global talent, because I do not work only with nurses at Japademi. In my place of work within the NHS, I work with over 80 internationally educated nurses, and I've seen a lot of experiences from them while I'm busy supporting them. You see, anxiety and depression can severely impact cognitive functions. And what do I mean? Concentration and focus. It can decrease memory and even the ability to make the right decision. Both anxiety and depression are this. And so when the ability to make the right decision is affected, it affects all aspects of individual's life. And not only that, it can lead to increased errors at work. For instance, medication errors for healthcare professionals. It can lead to medication errors for healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes,
it can also lead to, it can lead to incomplete or accurate documentations, because not every global talent are found in healthcare system. Some are in edutech, some are in education, some are in engineering, but then they have modus operandi, how they work. It affects it and it decreases their productivity. Somebody, take for instance, an IT tech, a software engineer, that because of anxiety or because of stress at work or because of depression in one way or the other, lost focus at job. The person can expose the company to cybercrime. It was supposed to protect the information of the company, but because they lost focus, they couldn't make the right decision. It might even press some key that send all the information to the internet, and before you know it, they are cyber attacked. So you can see that this impact can compromise. Let's say in healthcare sector, both of us belong to healthcare sector, Sammy. It can compromise patient care and team performance. Somebody who did medication error, what will happen to the patient? You omit or you add more to the patient's error. There is incomplete or inaccurate documentation. In fact, there is missed signatures of all your work. So you can see that the effect on work is really significant and it can never be overemphasized. I must tell you, it's really loud, it's big, it's huge. I have seen it with my 2 eyes happening to internationally educated professionals that I work with.
Thank you very much for that clarification. We can see that anxiety and depression is actually a challenge, and it tells on productivity at work. And then we don't want our people to get to the advanced signs before they begin to seek help. When they begin to see some early warning signs, I think reaching out and speaking up would actually solve a lot of the damages that could be done. I wanted to find out, can you tell us some unique stressors that affect international healthcare staff that may contribute to anxiety and depression? I know you've talked about some before, but I don't know if you could elaborate more on some unique stressors.
Thank you. That's fine. That's totally fine. International staff often face some extra layer of stress. I will call it extra layers of stress, which include cultural adaptation challenges. Extra layers of stress, which include cultural adaptation challenges, homesickness, language barriers. Like I said, pressure from meeting the financial obligation back in home country. Setting unrealistic expectation for oneself. Expectation like when I come to the UK or when I come, to anywhere, when I go abroad, I'm going to build a duplex, 4-bedroom duplex within 3 months. That's so unrealistic. And now, because you cannot meet that, then a result of stress, adding to the original stress like language barrier, cultural shock, cultural competencies issues. So you can see that it's a unique one. Or unhealthy competition. Because Nurse A, that we both came from the same country, has achieved this. I have to go ahead and achieve it. Even when you know fully that both circumstances are different. Or, unhealthy competition or not setting boundaries. Both personal boundary and professional boundaries can run us into trouble. So all of these, I call them extra layers of stress in combination with the real stress that is waiting for you as a migrant nurse or migrant internationally educated professionals. So those are the unique stressors.
I wanted to say, so let me add another extra layer of stress for international healthcare staff. Racism and discrimination. I don't know if you could shed some light. Does it affect or contribute to anxiety and depression for international healthcare staff? Does it?
I would say big yes, Sammy. Big yes. I'm once a victim of discrimination, so I know how it feels. I have a lived experience of what it means to be discriminated against. So I would say big yes. Whether discrimination is overt or subtle, they can further undermine mental health by increasing, by creating a sense of alienation and devaluation. And sense of alienation means sense of isolation, because already your skin color segregates you. But then there's further element of discrimination. So it creates that sense of alienation and devaluation. So you are demeaned, you are devalued. So for international staff, experiencing bias can lead to chronic stress and contribute to the onset of worsening of anxiety and depression. So anywhere you go, I remember my first experiences at a store. Myself and my daughter, we went to shop like 1 month after we relocated. My husband gave us money, we're still bubbling, and we got to this shop during the the thick of COVID. It was during the thick of COVID. And so we got in there and we were able to buy things like more than £100. And when we're about to pay, you need to select the item one by one and this guy came, an English native came and say, sorry, ma'am, your daughter needs to go. One of you need to go out. Oh, I said, okay, thank you. Then I asked my daughter, please go out and wait outside for me. Then just there, right there before my eyes, I saw 2 English native women with just one item staying together to pay.
To pay.
And I looked at this guy, I said, come on, to pay. He didn't ask any of them to go out. Just one item to pay. 2 of them are staying together. Whereas we got lots of items over £100 to pay. And you ask my daughter to go out. Then, that thing in me, the ability to protect, to protect my daughter and to fight for my rights, I went straight to him and I said, sorry. What did you just do just now? Why did you ask my daughter to go out? Why didn't you ask either of the 2 ladies over there to go out? Well, I asked them to go out and they didn't. I said, oh, but you asked my daughter to go out and you stayed till she left. I said, do you know what? You are so unfair. Then I called my daughter. I said, come on, girl, come in. Come in, you can stay with mom. And my daughter came in beside me and we're together. And so when we were there, I was speaking directly to the camera to expose this guy. An elderly Tesco, lady came to apologize to me because that lady saw it through the camera in the operating room that guy is actually discriminated, and it is because of my color.
Interesting. So discrimination is a big factor that could cause anxiety.
Yeah, it is.
Cause depression.
It affected my daughter. It affected my daughter so much that it takes years before she could be able to forget that incident.
All right. Now it's beginning to get emotional, but let me ask this question: Is anxiety and depression, is it treatable? Can it be treated?
Yeah, anxiety and depression can be treated. I'll tell you that some conditions do not have cure. So when we're talking about treatment, it's different from cure. So some conditions do not have cure, but you can manage. Conditions like hypertension, like diabetes, they don't have cure, but you can actually manage and live up to 120 years.
Yeah.
So the same thing, if anxiety is discovered, if anxiety is discovered early, you can actually eliminate the causes. If you know the causes, the root cause early, you can do away with that. But if it has progressed to major depression, then it means the individual needs advanced treatment. So while the individual might not be able to achieve total cure, the individual can live, successfully within the society. So I would say yes, it can be treated, both.
All right. For the benefit of our viewers today and those that are going to watch this video, I wouldn't want us to get to the advanced stage, and that is why we are discussing this at this point in time. I want you to tell us, for those that are working, mostly a lot of international healthcare staff, either working in the NHS, maybe working in a care home or in a nursing home, what role can their employers actually play in supporting those that are struggling or having any challenge with anxiety and depression?
Okay. So firstly, thank you very much. Let me say that this is very important to everyone out there, that it is the duty of care of any employer to prioritize and provide for the safety and well-being of his employees. And we have legal backing for this. For instance, we have the Equality Act of 2010 that talks about 9 protected characteristics. Disability is one of these 9 protected characteristics. And so if any staff, be it internationally educated professional or a domestic recruited, individual, that person, our organization or his organization has the duty of care to care for, to protect. Now, there is also workplace health and safety law, such as Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974. This act gives of how an employer can actually support both physical and mental health well-being of its employees. So when we are talking about this law requires employers to accommodate mental health conditions. If by any chance any employee sustain mental health condition like major depression or there is anxiety disorder, the employer has duty of care to support, to provide reasonable adjustment according to the law. I'm very passionate about this, so you can see the energy in me. So this means, you can see the energy in me, like a warrior, a female warrior. So it means that they need to provide something like reasonable adjustments, such as modified duties or flexible hours to support this person who is struggling with anxiety and depression. And not only that, they also want to support the child care, etc., etc. So whatever that has to do with this person, it is the duty of care. But you know what? Most of our people don't know this. And why? They don't read laws. Researchers are finders. So when you search for something, you will see it. So you don't wait for someone to come and tell you. There is an acronym or a slogan here. When I came to the UK, it is DIY. Sammy, you have heard about it before. DIY. Do it yourself.
Yes, that is it.
So when it comes to issue regarding our mental and physical health, we must be intentional. I am very intentional, and I'm kinder to myself. I practice compassionate leadership. And so I practice that compassion with myself first. Let us practice that. Let us DIY when it comes to our mental health. Do it yourself. Learn. Go online and read. Go to your HR and ask questions. Ask about policy. Let them give you policy. It's there lying down. Not looking for people to read. So these are laws and many more. Because of our time, we cannot go into that, of course. If you want me to go into elements of laws, I'm very, very passionate about that. But then we can just mention a few ones. So we can know that there are provisions under the law, legal provisions under the law, that make every employer to render duty of care to his employees.
Thank you very much. I can see you are very passionate about this, and you have a lot to say. But before we continue, please, viewers, if you have any question, please just type it on the chat box. I've seen some questions already waiting for us, but we would attend to them shortly. Now, looking at the legal backings, you talked about the Equality Act, you talked about the Health and Safety Act. However, as international healthcare staff, we talked about the mental health conditions. Do you think we can use anxiety or depression without being diagnosed first in the workplace? For example, I'm going to call in sick because I'm anxious. Could I just call in sick and say I'm not coming into work today because of anxiety or because of depression when I've not been diagnosed by my GP? Can you just expatiate on that?
Good point there. We're living in a country that is guided by laws and evidence. So if someone is having feelings of anxiety and it's encroaching on your activity of daily living, even like bathing, like brushing your teeth, like eating, those are the activities of daily living. So you're beginning to encroach, and it's giving you kind of limitation that you cannot even step out to go to work. Number one thing under the law is to call your GP, because we need to enlighten ourselves before we run into trouble. People stay at home, calling work to say, I have this, I have that, with no evidence, no medical evidence. You don't have to be diagnosed by a condition before you register it at GP. So when you have all of these symptoms, you wake up in the morning, you just beginning to have stomach upset, or you beginning to have palpitation, and then you feel something is not right. The next thing is to call your GP and book an appointment. So when you call your GP and book an appointment and you go, that is an evidence of the fact that you did not abandon duty. It's an evidence of the fact that you are actually sick. So it is not enough to call your office, because I handle this. I work with the stakeholders. I know all of this. It is not enough to call your office and say, I'm having anxiety. And that's all. Where's the evidence? Where have you been to? Have you been to the NHS Working Center? Have you called your GP? Have you called 111 for expert advice? Have you called ambulance? Have you been to accident and emergency? Where is the evidence before you say, I'm not going to work? Nobody will force you to come and work when you are not feeling fine. That's the fact. But of not feeling fine, otherwise you will not be paid. And that can be termed under the law unauthorized absence.
Yeah.
It can be termed under the law unauthorized absence. If I have time in the world, I would love to study law. Honestly, Sammy, I would really love to study law.
You're already delving
Because
into that already. I can
when I'm
see.
enjoying,
I see.
so that is called unauthorized
Yeah.
absence, and that could warrant some HR procedures on the individual. So it's good to enlighten ourselves.
So even if some persons are feeling anxious, maybe they're having some signs of anxiety, the first point of call should be to their GP.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
then they could take it up from there.
Working center or 111. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, your GP 111. Okay. Thank you for that.
Ambulance.
Basically, I think
an emergency.
yeah. What a lot of our viewers will want to hear today as take home will be some practical strategies for managing anxiety and depression, also while maintaining their work responsibility. Can you give us some tips? I have my pen and my paper here.
Yeah. There are a lot of practical strategies for managing anxiety and depression. In fact, time will fail us, but then I will still provide some.
All right.
On individual level, we have practical strategies like practicing mindfulness. And when you talk about mindfulness, it does not have to do with a particular thing. What mindfulness has to do is paying attention to yourself so that you will understand when things beginning to go wrong with you. You are being mindful of yourself. And so, in the context of mental health, mindfulness to us, we mental practitioner means you stay in a place, you have something that you are doing that distracts you, that take away stress. But in a layman term, mindfulness means paying attention to yourself. So there are a lot of issues that is happening that many people today ignore. And they ignore it and it becomes very big at the end of the day. So I would say prevention is cheaper and far, far the best than cure, because some of this thing has no cure. So let's prevent. And not only that, engaging in regular physical activity. You know, we're living in a country where most of our work are sedentary. For me, my work lifestyle is sedentary. I sit down in front of computer all day, running meetings, engaging with stakeholders. The only time I work or the only time I have to stand is when I go to deliver training. So what can help us is to engage more in regular physical activity. There are some hormones that are released that bring about elevating one's mood, like adrenaline. When you exercise, you sweat, you run, your heart beats faster, you release oxygen, and the toxins are eliminated. So when we engage in regular physical activity, no matter how small, such as brisk walking, in the United Kingdom, they promote cycling, swimming, than driving, because they know it's a form of physical activities. And if you consider the type of weather that we don't have too much of sun. Everything is cold.
I think there's
a
question on that.
That alone can bring what we call seasonal depression. So we want to get out of that mode by exercising, ensuring adequate rest. And at this point, I'm going to be brutal. I am going to be factual. I'm a factual woman anyway.
Yes, please. Let's let our viewers hear it.
That rest,
practical steps. Yeah.
That rest.
Are you there, Queen?
Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here. I'm
yes,
back.
Okay, we can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, the rest we're talking about, people, the way the hours are projected here is 37.7. Even some do 40 hours per week. But then some can be compressed into 3 or 4 days. So you have 3 days to rest. But you see what? You know what? People will now use the remaining 3 days again to do overtime somewhere. And so that's why I say I'm going to be brutal, because that is totally wrong for your body. You have worked 3 days, long shift, consecutively. But then the remaining 3 days to rest, you now go again to another place. I've had incidences of people die in their sleep because they have failed to rest. I have incidences, people coming down with serious depression because they refuse to rest. And so, what is the benefit of that money that we have gained when we cannot enjoy it? When someone else is reaping it, is enjoying it. So that's where I say I'm going to be brutal a little bit. So not only that, we have some stress management techniques that include breathing exercise, deep breathing exercise, and meditation. The aspect of deep breathing exercise releases, in fact, it freezes up the muscles. When you do deep breathing exercise, it reduces anxiety. If you want to know how good breathing exercise is, let's say you are panicked. In a case of panic attack, or the person is panicking, ask the person to do deep breathing exercise for just 10 minutes. I can bet it with you, that panic attack or anxiety will just disappear. So sometimes I use it regularly. Maybe I want to go and deliver. Yesterday, I delivered a presentation before the high and mighty. And you know, the imposter syndrome started on my shoulder when I was going 5 minutes to the show, and I was fighting the imposter syndrome. So it was the deep breathing exercise that actually helped me to say, no, Queen, you can do it. And some self-affirmation, you can do it. Go in there, you prepare, go and deliver. And I went and I delivered to the best of my knowledge. So whether through counseling or peer support group, we need to establish a routine for ourselves. Let us connect. There is element of social connection. There is element of physical connection. Let us connect physically, where we share problems, where we share solutions. And let us don't forget to set smart goals, both professionally and personally, for ourselves. And we should refrain from unhealthy competition, unnecessary comparison. Nurse A or professional B has just bought a G-Wagon or a Tesla. You will buy your own. Must you compete? Must you compare? Those are the things that give us unnecessary stress, unnecessary anxiety, because we are comparing. We should run our race by ourselves. So I will stop there.
Quite interesting. And we are having a lot of questions for you, Queen. But before you continue, let me just let's discuss a little bit on these practical solutions that you've given us today. Mindfulness. I think you did justice to that. Paying attention to yourself. A lot of us, we ignore little things. We just say it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and it builds up and it begins to form problem. Physical activities. I'm not going to talk more on that. But the one I'm going to talk on, you talked about rest. Queen. Somebody on our comments say whether bank shift now your mate. You don't go there. You were the one who talked about people back home. How do you expect us to cope? I know the 37.5 hours is not enough. Even 40 hours is not enough.
Okay.
I know we still try to rest, but you wouldn't say that we shouldn't do a bank shift, Queen. I know a lot of our viewers would want to comment on that.
Let me comment there. Let me comment there quickly. So please hear me out and let me clarify things. Money is good. Everything you are looking at, you see it? It's money. It costs money. And it's only by working that we can get this money. But then common sense, that is not common at all, is also good. And wisdom, they said money is good, but wisdom protects the owner. So in a way, I didn't say you should not pick bank shift or extra hours, but balance it with rest. Balance such with rest. Just about 2 weeks, sadly, we lost a professional, a male professional. He died in his sleep. It was an emotional moment, but I'm going to share it without mentioning him. Now, this guy worked 4 days in a week, long shift, 12 to 12 hours times 4. Then he has 3 days off. Then he picked 3 days shift from another organization. And guess what? It's not even 8 hours shift, it is 12 hours shift for the next 3 days, meaning 12 hours times 7 days. Now, this has been going for only God knows when. But then the body beginning to give signs and ignore the signs. He neither rest nor do the needful, nor go to the hospital. He continued to work. So he died in his sleep, sadly. It was an emotional, because he's a very, really nice guy. But then what happened during autopsy? In his place of work, they were expecting to see him on Monday, which is the next day. He died on Sunday. So they were expecting to see him on Monday. They couldn't see him. They were calling. Nobody knows his whereabouts. So they gained permission from the police to break in. And lo and behold, they find him on his bed, dead, stone cold. So, it aroused interest and said, what could have happened? There was no bodily injury, no breaking. So they took his body for autopsy. Guess what they find? They find out that the body has gradually beginning to shut down 2 weeks before that date. 2 weeks before that date, which is enough to save him. Hadn't been he had listened to his body. Hadn't been he had stopped the shift and rest for a while before resuming. Now, the autopsy now revealed that a particular day, which is Sunday night around 12 midday, that he died, that he has survival rate of 2 hours before the death that happened 12 midnight. Meaning that around 10 p.m., something was happening. But they met paracetamol beside him. So apparently, he's used to taking paracetamol to suppress whatever. So the point I'm making here, unapologetically, is that why money is good, common sense, that is not common at all. Wisdom protects the owner of the money. If you don't apply wisdom, we're going to run into trouble, and we don't pray for such incident to happen. Now, what is even most painful is the fact that this guy is planning to bring his family down. That is more painful. He's planning to bring the wife and the kids. Look at that. So you can just imagine. So on a lighter mood, when we're enjoying the long day, the overtime, the whatever, bank shift, I'm not saying night duty, night enhancement, whatever. Well, listen to yourself and balance it. Use common sense that non-English native will come and tell you the common sense. And then where do we have the time for professional and personal development when we use all the time for overtime? There is place for money, there is place for career development. I balance the two. And let me shock you, whether people will believe this or not, ever since I've been in the UK, I have never done overtime. Whether people would believe it or not, it's absolutely up to you. But I'm telling you truthfully, I have never done overtime. And yet, God is sustaining me and my family. My husband do overtime. Yeah, he do peak shift, but he balances it because he's always present whenever we need him. So while I will not dissuade you from pursuing overtime for whatever reason, balance it with rest. Listen to your body. That's my message. Thank you.
Listen to your body. Queen has said it, and time will not allow us to talk more on that. Let's go to some questions. Does accumulated stress over time lead to depression?
Thank you very much. So let's talk about the cycle that finally leads to depression. It starts with stress, something that you don't think of, maybe war related, money related, whatever related. It starts with stress. So the stress is supposed to be temporary. but then it persists. So the stress will move to anxiety. If you stop at anxiety, that's fine. If it does not stop at anxiety, it's plunging you into depression gradually. So we can say that, untreated accumulated stress can lead to anxiety disorder. Untreated anxiety disorder can finally land you in a major depression. So everyone can pick, the meaning of that. We all understand what I mean.
Untreated accumulated stress leads to anxiety. Untreated anxiety leads
Disorder.
to depression. And it's obvious. Let's see. We have a question from OJ. He said, as a health personnel, one of our biggest challenges is the alteration in the circadian rhythm due to night shift and the possibility of sleep during the day due to childcare and things. He said, how can you balance both? What's the balance? So sometimes you go
I'm a
for
mother
a night
myself.
shift. Yeah. And you're back home, you have childcare, because most times since you're married, you and your partner or your husband or your wife have to work alternate shift. Now you come back, you can't even sleep from your night shift. How do you balance it?
Good question, Sammy. I'm a mother myself, although ever since I've been in the UK, I'm done with childbearing. Honestly, I want to remain beautiful. I don't want to go down that route. No, not anymore. But then I remember back home when I was giving back to them, it was quite challenging because I'm kind of a career woman who prioritized education. So I was reading, I was, getting pregnant, I was nursing baby, I was, juggling. I'm like a one-woman battalion. But then when I came here, I studied a lot of things. Firstly, when I entered UK for 6 months, Sammy, I did not return to work. I didn't resume to work. The work that I've gained in my home country, when I got here, because they didn't bring me, I didn't return. Why? Because of my children, their mental health and physical health. It was an agreement between me and my husband to stay back at home for 6 months to look after them. Whereas my company is calling me, Queen, where are you? I said, I'm already in the UK, but I'm sorry, I can't resume. I need to look after this. So coming back to the issue of working alternate shift, I must say that parenting is collaboration. Both of you must sit down and work things out for yourselves. I've given this counsel, I've given this counsel a lot. I've done counseling on this a lot. I'm a marriage and relationship coach, and I'm a mother myself. So when both husband and wife come together and think about what kind of shift they can do so that both of them alternatively can be tending to the kid. It must not be on the shoulder of the mother alone to be looking after while the husband is busy working. It must be both of them. Otherwise, you need to go and get a child care assistant. And we know how much that costs in the UK. In fact, it can cost the entire of your salary if you are not careful. So what will be left for you? So what I've seen that is done is, again, going back to your employer as the mother or as the father. Both of you go to your individual employer and talk about flexibility, work hours flexibility because of childcare. Tell them, I have a child of so age who is still considered by UK standard as a child. And now this child, because of our alternate shift, things are not easy to take care of this child. So I want to be on this shift this week while my wife will be on this other shift. And so when it's our turn, when it's my turn as a husband, I will take care of my child. Otherwise, if your finger is paining you and you don't tell your employer, even when they still saw on your finger, the saw is there, it's written, all over your finger. Nobody will tell you, sorry for what they don't know about. So you need to speak up, speak out, engage your manager, tell your manager your problem. Your manager will oversee the dynamics of his or her ward. So you are part of that dynamics in the world. You are part of whoever the manager has a duty of care to render to. So talk to your manager about flexible work time so that both you and your partner or you and your husband or your wife can sit down and work it out. I understand that when you do night for some certain period, your sleep rhythm changes.
It does.
You no longer sleep during the night, you sleep during the day.
During the
And
day.
when you go back to day shift, the sleep pattern changes. You know, as regard that one, there is nothing we can do. That is the kind of shift we were subjected to. If we had opportunity, we will have changed that.
Thank you very much, Queen. And thank you, OJ Victor of Afoke, for asking that question. Quickly, can you just, in 2 minutes, what you just suggested? I know you talked about it when we talked about some support the employers should offer to people who are struggling with anxiety and depression. Now, those who are having childcare issues can actually lead to anxiety and depression. That's correct, right? So,
yeah,
not
because
all employers
of the persistent fatigue.
Yes, persistent fatigue. Thank you very much. Not all employers are willing to give flexible roster, flexible working hours, or just able to change. What can we do if our employers refuse to maybe give flexible working hours, even if because of childcare or something? What can we do then?
You know what? Actually, I would say that it's only when we don't know our rights that will suffer a lot. If we know our rights, we will not suffer at all. And again, I also want to say that it is very good to dialogue, meaningful conversation. I will still continue to talk about open conversation between you and your manager, because the employer we're referring to is your manager. It is not the entire organization. So the entire organization doesn't know what is wrong with you, but your manager knows what exactly is wrong with you. So when you go to your manager and table this, and the manager still insisting, you can ask from the HR to ask for flexible hours. Contact your HR and tell your HR, this is what is happening, but this is the steps that I have taken. There are steps. If you have union, you can actually talk to your union and say, this is what is happening. Your union can go in representation. They go and represent you and talk to your manager. Union are not meant to fight. They are not fighting. They mediate. It's only when things goes out of hand that they do what is what is needful. Are you getting it? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. My battery is running low. What's going on? And I plugged it. My computer battery.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Sorry, 1 minute. Who is there? Can somebody please there help me out? Yeah, this is
So
the
just-
charger here. Can you please help me out?
So if you have, hello guys, if you have any
Yeah, just
questions,
1 minute.
just put it on the chat box, okay? And we'll try as much as possible to answer your question.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
So,
Thank you, my lord.
yeah, just to reiterate what you've said, you need to talk to your manager, you need to use your union, and you can actually go direct to your HR
Contact your HR.
Yeah, contact your HR
Yeah.
to request for some flexible working hours.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Queen. Now, going back to another question from OJ Victor. He said, in Africa, we are used to the sun, and research has shown that the sun improves our mood. It makes you feel energetic. But in UK, we understand that the cold really causes lots of low mood, evidenced by hospital admission and rate of depression. His question is, now that the sun is not readily available in UK, what can you recommend as a mental health personnel to supplement for lack of vitamin D due to unavailability of the sun and the low mood it brings? Quite an interesting question.
Yeah, this OJ, we need to give OJ an award of, prompting, asking questions.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
If OJ, yeah, if OJ is one of my students, my learner, I'm going to give him or her an award. So, OJ, thank you very much for giving us back-to-back questions to think about. Yes. So, again, it has to do with cultural orientation, which most of us lack. When we are coming from from our home country, there was no orientation of how to go about our lives. Let me give you a vivid example of myself. When I got here, I'm a dark and lovely, skin girl. There is no pimples. There is this slogan that says, "Fine girl, no pimples. I am one." But when I got here, I didn't know I am supposed to take care of this face. That I'm supposed to wash, I'm supposed to put some things to protect myself from the harsh weather. So I thought I was still in my home country, enjoying my melanin and all of that. And of course, I'm over 40. Yeah, some people might be surprised. Yeah, I'm well over 40. I'm not even... So let's just leave that. All of a sudden, within 6 months, I began to have big acnes that it took me thousands of pounds to get back my face. And it's just because I didn't know I'm supposed to have some kind of face, routine. So when we go back to the issue of sun, there is nothing we can do. God created this place. He created our own place, our own home country with sun. Yeah. But what we can do is, before we're beginning to enter into winter, I do advise the global, talents to say, before you're beginning to enter winter period, around 2 months to winter, beginning to take vitamin D supplements. Vitamin D supplement is something you can just go over the counter drug. It's an over the counter drug. In fact, any dose you want, you're beginning to start with low doses, maybe 300 IU, microgram per day. And you are building something, you are concentrating something within the system. So by the time you're beginning to take that 2 months to the winter, sure, when you get to winter, your mood will not plummet. Yeah. Unless there are other underlying factors, in quotes, unless there are other underlying factors that can plunge your mood into depression. But when it comes to the issue of sun, no, that will not happen to you, because the vitamin D you started taking 2 months to winter is already in form of concentration in your blood, and you continue to use it throughout winter. At home, in my home, we'll start putting it. It's hard for the kids to take, because if you don't remind them, they will not. Even for adults, sometimes we see it, we bypass. It is not only mood, OJ, and everyone out there. It's not only mood that vitamin D affects. It also affects your bones. If you're beginning to have constant aches, on your knees, your joints, during the period of winter, it's your vitamin C. You are lacking of vitamin D. You are lacking of vitamin. So it's not about mood alone. I've experienced it before, that I will begin to have nail pains, and I will say, but I'm not old. What's wrong with me? Then I started on vitamin D, and it just disappeared. So there is nothing we can do for the mood. If you are hearing, I know you must have heard about, you are unstable as something's weather, someone's weather. So this is what we're talking about, because in just a day, you can have all the 4 weathers. Yeah, I don't want to mention any country's name. We do hear from our home country that you are as unstable as something, some.
Thank you very much. That is really a vital take home today. So guys, vitamin D supplements is really key. And thanks for that expose. And thank you, OJ Victor, for that brilliant question. We have Mata Abukari asking, if you go to the GP and it says he's going to send you a sick note through your phone number as an attachment, and he did not send it after you have left, what do you do? I think she was referring to when you talked about going to your GP, maybe when we talked about being diagnosed or something. So the first point of call is going to your GP. Now your GP is telling you that, okay, I'm going to send you a sick note, after you've gone maybe to your phone number as an attachment, and you do not receive it, what would you do?
Okay. Thank you very much. You guys have taken me down HR and people's profession. Don't worry. I will answer it. Taking me down to HR and people's profession, I will answer it because I know the answer to that. So, if you call your GP, maybe you have telephone appointment or face-to-face appointment, and they said, I'm going to get your sick days off to you. There are two types of sick leave certificates. There are two types. There is one that is called self-certificate. The self-certificate is called SC. There's a form for that on the government, the UK government website. So the self-certificate, self-sick leave certificate is when you're going to be off between 1 to 3 days. You will do that by yourself. You will feel it. But any sick leave that is past that, going to 7 days, 5 days, then it becomes the responsibility of your GP to do that. So that's number one. Number two is when you registered with your GP, did you put there on your personal file that they should contact you through email, phone call, or text message? Did you do that? Because when that is not ticked for you, you will not get anything. Once they want to send messages and they can't see where you have agreed on either contact me by phone call, by text message, by email, they can't find that box is ticked. You won't get anything at all. You can wait for ages. So it's important to go back to your GP and look at your record and tick the necessary, options. How do you want messages to be sent to you? Yeah, I recently got a sick note certificate because it's going to be for 5 days. I was on annual leave, and throughout the annual leave, I wasn't feeling fine. So I saw my GP and he said, no, you can't use your annual leave for sick leave. And so he converted the annual leave day 5 days for me. And before I know it, before I even get home, I've already received it in my email, and he asked me to use a code. There was a code sent to me and my date of birth. And once I do that, he just gave me the sick note. I screenshot and I sent that to my manager. But if I don't tick that on my record that I can receive messages by text message or by email or by phone call, nothing will happen. So it's good to go back, check it, and tick all the boxes that you wanted.
Thank you very much. I think that has done justice to that question. Martha is still saying, I think the salary is small. That's why we are suffering doing bank shifts almost every day. I don't regret joining. Oh, I have learned and I promise to stop bank shift. Martha, you want to stop bank shift? Thank you so much.
No. We're not saying you should stop. Balance it with rest. Don't get it twisted. It's very clear. The message is clear. Listen to your body. Balance your bank shift, your extra hours with rest. Balance it with, if you got 4 days and you want to pick one out of it for extra hours, fine. If you got 3 days, you want to pick one.
The other 2 days.
It's good. So no one on earth does not love money. No one. For the fact that I have not done overtime doesn't mean you cannot do it. My husband, currently still doing overtime, but he balances it. We are aging and we age quickly here. If you don't know, we age quickly here. I've seen people, when I came in here, I have a black hair, very black. I won't even use dark. But if I should show you my natural hair, it's now shiny sliver. Partly shiny sliver, partly dark color. So what do you think is responsible? It is the weather that we are exposed to. So if the weather here can change as little as my hair color, what about other things that this weather has done to us in our body that we don't even know? So it is only by listening to our body, by balancing rest and, workload. Some people cannot differentiate their work life and office life, and personal life. They can't differentiate it. You should balance it, otherwise you will burn out. And you won't be able to recover on time. And that shift like this will be running in front of you, and you cannot even pick them. So, but when you balance it, we're talking about health sustainability. You'll be able to sustain your health because you are balancing, doing check and balance. But when you are just going straight ahead, disaster is waiting. Nobody pray for that. I'm very factual. I'm sorry.
One more comment from you, Queen. What resources are available to
Alright.
international healthcare staff to help them address anxiety and depression at the workplace? Now, you talked about speaking up, but what resources do we have available to international staff to actually help us balance or help us address anxiety and depression?
Thank you very much. Number one thing is to reduce the stigma. We need to break the stigma. And the only way we can break this stigma is by open, honest dialogue. The era of keeping to ourselves is no more. And I know why. From the country where we came from our background, when you cry over everything or over little thing, you are considered to be a weakling. You are considered to be a weak person.
Yeah.
And in fact, there is a stereotype to women. If a man cries now, they'll say, why are you crying like a woman? Why are you crying like a woman? Because they've stereotyped us as weaker vessels, weakling, somebody that the only thing we know is to cry over everything. But then it is good to cry, to express in your own way how you want to express your distress. Express it in any way you know how to do. So one of these is by speaking up. Speak up. If it requires you to cry, please cry and stop so you can be relieved. But by the time you bottled it up, you were saying, I'm strong. Yeah, no, I'm a man. I'm a man of the house here. I'm not going to cry. You are bottling up. It will get to a place, it will result into depression, it will result into anxiety, it will result into mental health issues that you can no longer control. So honest dialogue with your organization, with your manager is very important. And when discussing mental health issue, it is good to normalize it. You don't have to create a very gigantic impression about, just talk about it as if you're having a headache. Oh, I'm having panic attack, I'm having anxiety. Say it like someone who has diabetes or hypertension. So simplify it. Don't look at it as something very serious. And not only that, the educational awareness, from our organization can benefit us. There are a lot of resources on the intranet of our education organization. Let us go there and tap those resources. Not only that, available resources can be employee assistance programs. We all have it in our individual organization. It is good to have access to a range of resources from them. Then it's good to have access to counseling services. I've once worked in a mental health support services where I work as a crisis recovery worker in the UK. It is an out-of-hour, recovery services. We start from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight. And people do come. Sometimes some people will call and say, I feel like killing myself. And we talk them out of that. Some will come and have a tea with us. And, we can have access to all of this. 111 is there. Ambulance and emergency is there. Accident and emergency is also there. Walk-in center, NHS walk-in center, they are all available services. Talk works, they are all available services. Then in your organization, go and ask about freedom to speak up guidance service. There is what we call freedom to speak up guidance that is established in every organization. Let us make use of them, because what you cannot say, they will help you to say it. And they are going to provide psychological safety space for you to ventilate, to express without being judged or being reprimanded. So you will not be judged, you will not be reprimanded, and still your challenges, your distress will be tailored to the organization. So, but people are lacking of this because they don't want to, all what they focus on in accumulation of wealth. Wealth has its own place, but knowledge is power. Knowledge is key. When we have knowledge, on our palm. Nobody, I say it again, can take away what it rightfully belongs to us. So it's very important. If you don't know what these resources mean, go to your HR and ask questions. Go to your health and well-being in the department, in your organization, and ask questions. Go to employee assistance program department and ask questions. They are there. Those leaflets, those pamphlets, they are just there. Go and access it and know what. Have some phone numbers of emergency anywhere you can call when something happens. Even when ambulance is delaying, there are other numbers that you can call. 111 is there. They will give you support right away. They will triage you over the phone and they will know what next. So let us make use of this. I remember we are paying taxes.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Paying taxes on all of these services. So while you are paying, why are you not assessing it? Why are you not enjoying it? Some people even pay health surcharges. But they've never been to GP before.
Exactly.
They brought some paracetamol, some medication from home, and they are using self-medication in a country that has laws. If police is giving Section 135 to go and check your house, you are in soup. And they find all those drugs there that are not produced in their country, but you smuggle. I will use the word, you smuggle it right in here. So if you have some drugs, medication, I will use medication. Over there in our home, we use drugs. But
we use drugs. We use medication.
If you have if you have some medications in your house, go and check them and throw them away before you get checked and you begin to explain and produce receipts and produce the pharmacy that, the pharmaceutical company that produce it. So make use of the services here. This is our host country. We all have our individual home country, but this is our host country. Let us make use, maximize it. We're paying taxes. I can open my mouth anywhere to say, I pay taxes. I'm here. I'm a good resident of UK. I'm proud to say that because they deduct this from my salary every month. So why am I not supposed to access it? The services.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Queen Okesola, you've really done justice to this. I know if we leave you today, we won't leave here. Thank you so much for your time. One thing I have to say, information is knowledge. Knowledge is power. Always ask questions. Always ask questions. Always ask questions.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for joining us today and sharing this knowledge with us. I want to thank my viewers for also tuning in. Esther Aina, thank you. OJ Victor for asking your questions. We have Christabel. We have Iniekedu. We have Mata. And we have Valerie, who have asked their questions and dropped lovely comments on the chat box. If you've not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe, hit the subscribe button and turn on your notification. We run this program on a monthly basis where we bring knowledgeable personnel to come do justice and talk about topics that will enable us stay and thrive here in the UK. And we have our lovely guest, Queen, who is a mental health practitioner, a brilliant one at that. She's been able to share practical solutions and strategies to handling anxiety and depression today. And thank you all for joining and tuning in, and hope to see you in our next event. Thank you. And thank you, Queen, for joining today, and hope to see you next time. Thank you very much.
I would really like to say this. Yeah, thank you very much. Like a parting word. Remember my message. No international talent should struggle alone. Your skills are valuable. You can thrive. So if you are an international educated professional navigating your career, if you are a mentor ready to guide others, if you are a partner looking to drive meaningful change, or whether you want to create inclusive workplaces and empower immigrant professionals, looking for an inspiring speaker to discuss mental health migration like the one I've done now and workforce transformation, please. I'm just a DM away. And you can join me at Academy, because I'm an health innovator and a mental health consultant there. So join me at Academy today and become part of this unstoppable movement. And of course, Sammy here is going to put the link for you to join.
Yeah.
It is only when you join that we can know what areas that we can help you. I'm an expert in cultural adaptation and emotional intelligence. And so please feel free to join this group, and then we can take it up from there. Thank you very much for having me today on the show.
Thank you very much, Queen. I'll be dropping the link for you to join and connect with Queen, to tap from her resources. She just talked about resources you can benefit from. So I will be dropping the link on the comment section on the chat box. And when we re-edit the video and upload it, I'll also drop the link on the description. So please link up with Queen and tap on our resources, and you will be glad you did. Thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you for my viewers. Thank you for joining and listening today, and hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.